Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with a brand new Eofauna release. Yes, these figures have actually begun releasing. They were not initially expected until 2025. From what I've been told, there was just some pressure on Eofauna to get these released, and they now have already begun hitting retailers in China. I grabbed mine from Lana Time Shop as always, and you can see we have the only dinosaur that has released with this wave of Eofauna figures, the Ankylosaurus. And I must say, in person, I feel like this might be one of the best figures to come from Eofauna so far. The sculpt on this is absolutely gorgeous, and the paint apps as well, again, are easily some of my favorite that I've seen from Eofauna yet. Like, the coloration is really quite natural, but at the same time definitely has a somewhat, flashy look to it, and also a lot of realism when it comes to the paint application. And again, like I said, the sculpt absolutely gorgeous, kind of similar to the PNSO Ankylosaurus with that head tilt. That's something that you see on Ankylosaurus apparently fairly often, because again, that's something the PNSO version had as well. But when you get nice and close, you can see the head sculpt looks really good. You've got some nice variations of browns here in the face, nice looking scale detail and skin texture throughout. You can see the armored areas also have some nice variation of color to them, which looks really good. Definitely helps to highlight those areas, but at the same time make them look quite realistic. We can see a white running up there into the face, kind of striping through the body. We have a very nicely painted eye with a little bit of a gloss coat. There you can kind of see the gloss coat shining off of the light. As you move up here to the front of the face of our Ankylosaurus, we can see inside the mouth, if my camera would focus correctly on it. You can see the tongue and everything there inside the mouth. Seems like when I get close, my camera loses focus on it. But we have the tongue in there. We've got some nice pinkish tones, nice gloss coat as well for the inside of the mouth. You can see on the inside of the mouth and the upper side as well. There you go, get a good look in there. My camera for some reason really does not want to focus on that area, I don't know why. But we can see the beak of the Ankylosaurus as well, also nicely sculpted and painted. Does have some nice fine detail to it, very nice dark tone, kind of like a black in that area. When you come up to the top of the head, you can see again some larger scales moving along the top of the head, and then leading back we again have a little variation of color. You can see some browns showing up on the edges of those spikes there on the side of the head of the dinosaur. On top of having that nice head tilt, you can see it also has its head turned in a left-leaning position. We can see that again portrayed in the sculpt, as well as the way that the everything is moving, like in the neck area when it comes to the armored areas and stuff. I love the fact that we even see some slight tints of green showing up in the armored areas. The paintwork of this is actually so nicely done, like even better than your standard Eofauna figures. But as you move back, you can continue to see that we have that kind of rough and rugged looking skin texture to our Ankylosaurus. We continue to have that. It's kind of like an off-white more so than a white, but moving through the body, kind of striping through, definitely adding some flashiness to the figure. I think that's the only area of the paintwork that doesn't look perfectly like body color, but still looks pretty good. Overall, there's nothing that I would complain about when it comes to that paintwork. And we also, again, have a nice dark brown moving down along the center of the back as well. Again, of course, the armored scutes. And even in the dark brown areas, you still see some of those light hints of green and stuff and different variations of browns added to it. There's also been a nice dark wash applied to the figure, so you can see each and every scale moving along the back is highlighted perfectly and super realistically on the figure. I love the coloration of this. As you move down here into the side, you have even more vibrant tones of color. You can see kind of like yellowish and orangish browns, as well as even a little bit of reddish browns moving up here closer to the hip region of the dinosaur. And as you can see, there's also some like osteoderms and stuff around here in the thigh. They've even painted those out again with some darker browns. But as you move down the front leg here, you can see quite the armored look to that front leg, and they've even applied a little dry brushing to the scutes moving down. You can also see again variations of browns, definitely highlighting that area as well beautifully. We can see the toes of our Ankylosaurus are also nicely sculpted, and then again painted with the nails painted with a nice light tone there, kind of like a similar sort of off-white to what we have up here, striping through, but not quite, maybe even more so bordering on like a gray actually, definitely more gray than anything. But as you move back into the stomach, you can see again even more variation of color just randomly showing up here and there, and that dark wash popping the detail perfectly throughout. We can also see again some nice girth to the Ankylosaurus, especially when you look at it from the underside. You can see on top of what species of Ankylosaurus we are looking at here, and the fact that this is a 2025 release, you can also see the dark wash again, making sure to highlight each and every ounce of detail on this figure perfectly. As you move back, you've got some more kind of spikes, some armored spikes leading out of the hip region right there. And then as we continue to move back here into the tail, you do see a really nice curve to the tail, but not any sort of like unrealistic turn to the tail or anything like that. You see a little bit more of that striping leading out before that disappears. And again, we've just got some variations of browns basically at this point. And again, a little bit more of that off-white sort of spotting in a few areas as you lead out. And then you get out here into the club and look at how nice that looks. On top of incredible fine detail in this area, I love the paintwork to this spot of the figure. Again, incredibly realistic looking and perfectly painted to highlight all of the detail of that area. As you turn around to the underside, you can see that we transition back to the nice brownish tones, and then we move along the underside. You have like some darker browns, and then it instantly lightens up right there as we move along the underside. We can see the cloaca and everything. We, of course, also have this card here that you can see kind of getting in my way. When I'm trying to review certain areas, I don't take these off usually, but I think I might take it off at some point here for the review. But you can see, again, Ankylosaurus. You've got a really cool image and some information on the dinosaur. And you also have this little tag here, which tells us the scale. Again, the fact that it is 1/35th scale, and then has some information. I don't know if we can get this open. Oh, it's kind of tied in there, I see. But it has information and everything on the figure inside. Of course, of that little tag. But when you look at it from the opposing side, first of all, you can see the head sculpt again looks great over here, just like it did on the first side. We have the head tilt kind of away from us now. On this side, you can see the really nice detailing of the neck. Again, the nice twist and turn in the neck. And on top of that, the very nice orangish browns that we have moving along that area. The leg is in a slightly different position over here, just a little bit more further forward compared to what we see on the opposing side, but the same type of incredible paintwork on the figure. You've got pretty much the same shot of the stomach as we lead back, as the dinosaur is definitely not in any sort of like a dramatic pose or anything. For the most part, it seems like it's just kind of leisurely walking around, maybe tilting its head to take a bite of something as it's moving through. But you can see again that wash really highlighting the detail perfectly. And again, the very cool paint scheme and paint application that we have. As you lead back, you can see some more of those brown spots kind of highlighting some of the osteoderms, and you lead down and transition again to a darker brown as you lead down into the feet, and you can see again the nails painted with that light tone, kind of like a light gray, as well as the very impressive detailing. And then we again lead out into the tail, and now the tail curves away from us, but just slightly, you can see. Not any sort of like a massive sharp turn. But as far as a size goes for our Ankylosaurus, lengthwise you're looking at a little over 9 inches or around 23 centimeters. The highest point might be the tip of the tail. It is a little over 2 inches or around 5.5 centimeters. And then for measurement here to the top of that spike of the head, a little over 2 inches, or again, just a hair under 5.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Ankylosaurus from Eofauna. And you can see the figure definitely has a nice size to it, but I feel like it's a pretty obvious size. If you are familiar with Ankylosaurus in the 1/35th scale size range, you're already going to know roughly what the size is. This one's not any kind of like a surprise or anything, but if not, hopefully these figures next to it will help to give you an idea of the size. So as unfortunate as it seems, I tried to bring my PNSO Ankylosaurus in, but when I was rearranging my dinosaur room fairly recently, I kind of put this big shelf up in front of this other area where I had some models that in my mind I'm like, well, I probably won't need to access them anytime soon. And I was like trying to clear stuff out and move things around. I had to get a whole new furnace, so everything's kind of everywhere. And apparently I buried my Ankylosaurus, like not buried it, but I have it back behind some shelves where I can't really reach it right now. And I tried everything just now, including even trying to find like a grabber or a hook or something I could just grab a hold of it and bring it out, just until I can kind of rearrange things and get things back to the way they were, because it's just like my life is beyond hectic and busy all the time, so I haven't had time to do that. Unfortunately, I can't reach it, but I can tell you with confidence the Ankylosaurus from PNSO is pretty much exactly the same size as this version from Eofauna. So if you do have the Ankylosaurus from PNSO, then you definitely know the size of this. But if not, here is a comparison with the Nanmu Ankylosaurus, which you can see is quite a bit larger. We've also got the Ankylosaurus from Toyway for the Walking with Dinosaurs series, which as well, again, quite a bit larger. We've also got a comparison next to the Planosaurus Ankylosaurus, which you can see is a little bit smaller. Then when it comes to some fairly similar species that were released not too long ago, we also have the Howlong-Good next to the Ankylosaurus, as well as the Howlong-Good Edmontonia, which you can see again is quite a bit smaller. The Howlong-Good Gastonia as well, again, a good bit smaller than our Ankylosaurus. We've also got the TNG Ankylosaurus, which you can see is slightly larger than the Eofauna version. Then some Eofauna comparisons. First of all, we have the incredible Atlasaurus from them next to the Ankylosaurus. We also have the Eofauna Triceratops, which you can see is quite a bit larger than our Ankylosaurus. And then one final comparison with the Eofauna Tyrannosaurus Rex next to their Ankylosaurus as well, just to again give you one good comparison with these two incredibly cool figures. So this brand new Eofauna Ankylosaurus is gorgeous. Definitely one of their nicest figures yet, and a very cool species choice. I love the fact that Eofauna continues to pump out prehistoric mammals and dinosaurs at the same time, giving us plenty of incredible releases to go crazy over. Honestly, I feel like I could use a little more, but they definitely have some fantastic stuff out on the market. And overall, I would say the Ankylosaurus, again, in my opinion, is definitely one of the best. Sculpt-wise, it is extremely highly detailed, maybe the best when it comes to fine detail that I have seen on any Ankylosaurus up until this point. It really is quite vibrant when it comes to the overall quality of the sculpt, and beyond impressive when it comes to the fine detail. The pose is also nice, again, kind of reminiscent to the PNSO version with that nice head tilt and everything. Kind of a cute and adorable look for our Ankylosaurus, but at the same time kind of making it look like it's just turning its head as it's coming in for a bite to eat. That's my take on it. It doesn't look like it's in any sort of a defensive display or anything, just basically nice and at ease and feeding, potentially anyway. We also have some very nice paintwork for this, and there's a lot of variation of color applied to this. You could tell they went all out when it comes to the paintwork of the Ankylosaurus. It also looks extremely lifelike and realistic when it comes to the coloration and paint application. The nice dark wash really helps to kind of pull it all together and just add another level of realism for the figure. And of course, it's a very nice size overall, which as well is a great thing because it's not anything too big or too small. It'll look nice and impressive on any collector's shelf. So if you are interested in adding this to your collection, I will include a link in the description to Lana Time Shop where I purchased mine. So make sure you check that link. Go pick this figure up and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.